Finally this week, Detroit, Motor City. It's been through some tough times, but there were some good signs actually at the Detroit Motor Show. Despite major product recalls, 2014 was actually the best year for US car sales since 2006, before recession and bankruptcy hit GM and Chrysler. 16.5 million cars were sold, and even with the falling petrol prices, car makers are still emphasizing fuel efficiency. Chevrolet introduced a revamped Chevy Volt hybrid, as well as a new all-electric concept car. Also, Ford unveiled a new GT supercar, one of 12 high-performance cars it is bringing to market. Well, the CEO of Ford, Mark Fields, joined us on Al Jazeera during the motor show. He spoke to Shuli Ghosh, who asked if electric cars really were the way forward.
Well, you know, we're introducing this GT supercar. This is really, we're using it as a showcase for all the innovation and technology that we put into our vehicles over the last couple of years and what we're going to do going forward. So we're very excited to demonstrate this and show it off to the public.
There seems to be a lot of emphasis on power and speed this year at the Motor Show. Is that why car makers are introducing bigger gas-guzzling trucks?
Well, I think stepping back for us, this is a show where we're showing how we're making innovation through performance. But importantly, it's about the energy-efficient engines that we're using in the supercar. It's around the lightweighting in the materials that we have as part of the construction of the car. It's around the aerodynamics. So it's showing that you can actually get power with efficiency. Correct. In our new F-150, last year we introduced it at this show. It's just going into the marketplace right now. All aluminum, lightweight materials, and customers get better fuel economy and more performance and capability out of their vehicles. So that's what we're demonstrating here again today, and how we're using innovation to drive that as a company.
But do you think car manufacturers should have more of a responsibility to the environment? That should they be doing more research to produce more fuel-efficient vehicles?
Well, clearly I can only speak to Ford, and our strategy has been very consistent over the past 5 or 6 years, which is to have every one of our vehicles either the most fuel efficient or among the best in fuel efficiency in all the vehicles that we bring to the public. At the same time, our manufacturing facilities, we're very conscious of sustainability and making sure they have little impact on the environment as possible. So we take those responsibilities very, very seriously as a company from a green standpoint.
Tell me what you think the future holds for the motor industry, Mark. There's a lot of talk about self-driving vehicles. I'm quite excited by that. How far off are they?
Well, I think when you think about a lot of buzzwords around autonomous vehicles going on these days, our company, our products right now, you can buy semi-autonomous vehicles, features that we have on our products right now that will allow you to stay in a lane, that will help you park your car. Fully autonomous vehicles in the industry are probably about 5 years off. We have development vehicles on the road, but when we come out with it, and we haven't given a time frame yet, when we come out with it, we want it to be accessible to millions of folks, and let's say not just luxury customers. So that's what we're working on.
Last question, let me just talk to you about economy. Obviously, car manufacturers like Ford struggled a lot with the economic meltdown. How are things looking for the year ahead?
Well, when you look across the globe, we feel that the U.S. economy will continue to do well. Consumer confidence, income growth really favors the continued growth in the car industry. When you look at China, we continue to see growth there. Our call is for around 7% growth. So China and the U.S. we think are going to set the beat for the global economy this year. Clearly, we might see some growth in Europe, although fairly tepid given the issues there. And Russia and South America continue to be very, very challenging. So that's how we see the world. But stepping back, still growth around the world and growth for the car business overall.
So, cars in Detroit are doing well, but what about the rest of the city? It has come out of bankruptcy, and city leaders are talking about a rebirth. But really, Motor City is still in need of a serious jumpstart. Alan Fisher has more on that.
Snow is a great leveller. It makes everything look the same, but it also hides many things. In this part of Detroit, it's hard to tell the warm, comfortable homes from those who may never see another family through its doors. Until you get close up, a bit like the city itself.
There is a feeling, a suggestion that Detroit is on its way back after its controversial bankruptcy, that people and businesses are being attracted to the city centre. But there's also a feeling and a suggestion that those on the edge of the city, just a few kilometres away, are already being left behind.
North End was once a thriving community, but those days have gone. Now the streets are dotted with abandoned homes and vacant sites. Shirley Davis has lived here for 20 years. She thought about leaving. She feels forgotten by the city.
When I see something in front of me that's going to say, Miss Davis, this is what we're going to do for your community, then I'll say, yes, it's getting better. But until I see that, until I know that my neighbor over here can get her porch fixed so she can come up on her front steps, then I'll say, yeah, it's getting better.
Detroit ran into problems when motor industry jobs started moving away. People followed the work, and the declining population didn't produce the same tax income. Services suffered while costs for things like pensions continued to rise. Around $20 million in debt, the city filed for bankruptcy. One expert says the city and all its neighbourhoods have changed forever.
There are parts of the city that are simply never going to be the sort of neighborhood that the people who grew up there remember growing up in.
Kalila Burt Gaston works for Vanguard. It buys rundown vacant homes, rebuilds them and sells them to families to rebuild communities. It costs her organisation money, but it's producing results. She says while the city centre is recovering, Northside will be a true barometer for change.
You know, trickle-down economics, some would say, never worked for our government or for the U.S., and so trickle-down economics can't work for neighborhoods either. There has to be clear strategies and a clear intent.
North End remains a challenge for Detroit politicians, but it also provides hope that a long-neglected area can emerge from what feels like a long winter.